You're
But
building a
I want to ask you, are we as a generation doing the easier stuff because it's better than doing the hard stuff? Or are we doing the easy stuff because it's all we can do? Like, is that our limited option? Because, like, I agree with you, life is completely easier. And I agree with my dad and my mother because they complain about this every day. We have a conversation. You guys have it so easy. Your life is easier. Back when I was a child, I had polio and there was civil war and we didn't have TV. We didn't have TikTok. It's like, first of all, I don't have TikTok either. I don't use it.
yeah.
But like, I do agree, our lives are definitely easier. But where I argue with my parents. Sorry, where I have a calm discussion with my parents. No, I argue with them. Is that look, our lives may be easier. We have television. We have this house and everything, but success has become way harder. Like, like I said, the hours we put into work, they mean less and less and less because we can go technical and talk about purchasing power and inflation, or we can just say we can buy less with what we earn, even though that number is bigger than it was before. And like, and I feel like all this spoiledness of our generation is residual. Like me, I have this place, I have this gaming PC, I have this recording equipment because I spent my money on it, but I had money to spend on it because my parents are supporting me a bit in rent. But what happens, and a lot of people are in this situation where they're well into their 20s and 30s. I've even seen a case where 40 and their parents are still supporting them. And we're in this situation where we can still have some breathing room to complain because our parents support us. But what happens when they die? Like, what happens when they're gone and we don't have that financial support or emotional and spiritual support anymore? I feel like the second that generation above us, passes on, we're going to see a big collapse because we've lost a lot of security that our parents gave us, and it's becoming harder to gain new security separate from our parents. And that is a good job, a good house, good investments. Like, so yeah, back to the original question. Do you feel we are picking easy over hard, or easy is all we have?
No, I think it's human to be easy. I'll ask you a very simple question. If you are in the forest and you are thirsty and there's a river right next to you and there's a river across the mountain, where would you go to drink water?
Which one's cleaner?
Both are cleaner
Both
equally.
are clean?
Yeah.
The,
Which
the
one
one
are you
next
going
to
to?
me.
Because human beings, the path of least resistance, right? And this is a very good analogy you said. Which one is cleaner? And that's what we forget, George, that all things on the click of a tap are not cleaner, but we are told that they're cleaner. That's why we use it all the time. Junk food is not cleaner, it's easier. It's easier to order out. It's easier to eat junk food filled with all ultra processed stuff. It makes you feel like you're tasting good food, but you're not. And because of that, actual healthy, tasty food doesn't exist in our minds anymore. We don't like vegetables anymore. We don't want to eat lentils anymore. We don't like all of that stuff anymore because we want to eat burgers and pastas and all of that stuff, right?
Yeah,
So
it's a cheap dopamine hit.
it's a cheap dopamine hit, and that's the problem. Society has been designed in such a way that easy is all we have now. And in that, yes, I don't blame you per se or the generation, because society was created by the generation above us, right? And
Mhm.
there's also this, as you said, the security blanket concept of this generation above us. That is also a little bit on them, right? That they were raising kids in a way that they made them dependent on it. And I know that firsthand. I can't speak for the Western people. You were raised in the East, but I don't know if it's the same as South Asia, where we are literally raised by mothers who love to be relevant.
Oh yeah.
and
No,
and
we
it
have
isn't
that.
and it isn't by choice. It is not like that they're deviously doing this, but that's what they've been taught, that we can't live without them. I'm not joking. My brothers, before they moved abroad, they could not know where their clothes were. They wouldn't pick up their dishes. They sometimes wouldn't even eat, and my mom would be putting food in their mouth with her own hands,
Mm.
because mom is like, that's all we do, mothers give. I'm like, yeah, but you're not giving here, you're spoiling. And because of that, that person is not equipped to walk into society and become a functionally contributing adult, right? So this is the mess we have. A generation that spoiled us, an economic system that is collapsing around us. But to be honest, George, 2008 also happened, right? 1929 also happened, right? 2015 in Europe also happened. There were crashes and crashes and crashes, but people came through over it. How? because people do. They need purpose and meaning. And I think that purpose and meaning only comes if we start looking at what we can change and stop looking at what others and what things are going wrong, because that's again a problem of social media and the information overload, that we look at all the negatives around us because negativity sells. And it is not your fault or my fault for focusing on the negative. That's how we are as humans. If you had to, in the past, if you were in a tribe and you would always be worried about another tribe or a tiger coming into your camp, you would be successful. So we're evolutionarily geared to be looking out for problems because that's what our survival depended on it. But now it doesn't, right? Now, if you forget to keep your door locked in the night, I don't know about Canada. In the US, that would be pretty scary. But in Canada, you can keep the door unlocked. Worst case scenario, someone steals something. You still won't die, right? It's a
Yeah.
completely different ball game. So tell me your thoughts about that. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I think we're on a big agreement. The agreement is like we do, like it's in our hands to do something about it. Like, what other choice do we have? We have to take responsibility for our lives. But the thing is, and I believe we discussed this in a previous conversation, our generation needs to take responsibility for the hands we're dealt, but it's not our fault. Because you said yourself, our parents spoiled us. But I wouldn't say just they spoiled us, they didn't teach us anything. Because our parents, they grew up in this, and you can like look at statistics, you can look at documents about it. They grew up in this period of time where there was economic booms everywhere, there was potential everywhere. You start a business, you can find a market for it almost anywhere. It was pretty simple: work hard, make money, put some money in a business, make more money. And I feel like this is a skill set that was never taught to us, because I feel we are the education generation. As my dad and my mom keep telling me like, oh, your grandmother taught me this, your grandpa took me to the farm and showed me how to do this. I love my parents, I really do. They didn't teach me any of that stuff. My parents expected me to learn Arabic. They put me in an English school and they didn't speak Arabic to me much at home. So I speak Arabic now, but that took its sweet time. My parents expected me to know the Bible. They never read the Bible to me. They put me in a Arabic Sunday school to learn the Bible. Well, I don't speak Arabic, so how is that going to work? My dad has his own business. He didn't take me to work every day. He didn't show me how his business was being run. And my mom, and I think this is specifically a brown mother thing, they will complain about you not doing chores, but when you make any attempt to wash the dishes, any attempt to make your bed, any attempt to vacuum the house, they will scream at you. They will say, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to replace me? That's not how you do it. Don't do it anymore. So, we don't even learn those skills. Our parents expected us to go to school, learn everything important for life. And the fact is, what did we learn? Greek poetry? We learned that, what's it called? Mitosis? Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Did we learn taxes? No. Did we learn finances? No. Did we learn organization skills, business administration? Did we learn like how to plan our path throughout college? No. So I feel like we need to acknowledge the disadvantages. We have advantages. Of course we have advantages. We're not struggling in like some tiny village dying of malaria. But like we also need to acknowledge that our generation and the generations forward, we started out wrong. You know? We are lacking in terms of discipline. We are lacking in terms of like knowledge and experience. And even though I say this is not our fault, this is actually the fault of previous generations, I agree with you. We need to do something about it. But to do something about it, you have to first diagnose yourself and see what the issue with because I feel like we cannot go to all these depressed people, these stressed out, burnt out young people out there and say, hey, you're weak, you're lazy. This problem came out of nowhere and started with you. It has nothing to do with the previous generations.